Hello, fellow YouTubers. This is Bill McFadden from Tone Pure Music. And in this video, we're going to get into minor 7th chords, inversions, voicings, and some other relevant information in our study of really chord structures in general. So last time we took a look at the major 7th chords. So an easy way to get a minor 7th chord is to play the minor triad. For example, here we have C minor. And if we go from the 5th of the chord, so here's your 1st, your minor 3rd, and your 5th. If you go up a minor 3rd from the 5th, that gives you your C7 minor. So basically you're flatting the 7. So in the major scale, there's your 7. So if you flat it, you get that. So, and the same thing, of course, works for the rest of the chords. Like here's a D minor chord. And then if we go up from the 5th, a minor 3rd, and again, a minor 3rd, 3 half steps up. So there's A, 1, 2, 3. And then here's E minor, and from the 5th, if we go up a minor 3rd, and F minor, if we go up a minor 3rd from the 5th, which is C5, and we get the E flat. So the minor 7ths, relative to the major scale of each, for example, if we look at the C major scale, which you have is the 3rd and the 7th are being flatted. So here's a G minor chord. So if I go up a minor 3rd, then I have it. So I don't actually have to know the scale of G minor to get the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th of the minor scale. Or it would be the flatted 7th of the major scale. So here would be G major 7. So G minor 7, whoops, you flat the 3rd and you flat the 7th. Then we have the A minor chord. Then again, the quickest way to get them is just go up a minor 3rd from the 5th, B minor. So go up a minor 3rd, C minor, go up a minor 3rd from the G, you get the C minor 7. Here's a D flat minor, go up a minor 3rd from the 5th of the D minor chord, the D minor triad, you get the D minor 7. And the same, there's the E minor 7, just adding the minor 3rd to the 5th. Here's F sharp minor, adding the minor 3rd to the 5th. A flat minor, and then B flat minor. So that's a quick way to construct them. Now, relative to the major scale, let's say here, well, this scale right here is the A minor scale. We're starting from A. And it's actually the Aeolian mode of the C scale. But it's the natural minor, or the Aeolian scale. So if I take the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th of the A minor scale, then I get the A minor 7. So really, if you want to take a look at it in terms of scales, if you know your minor scales by memory, then you can just do the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th of the minor scale. Similarly, here's the C minor scale. So if you take the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th of the minor scale, then sure enough, you have your C minor 7. So in both cases, relative to the major scale, you're flatting the 3rd and the 7th. Now, as you can get an idea, the scales are extremely important, and really there are only 12 scales that you need to be familiar with, the C scale. And there are other scales, of course, like octatonic, your half tone, whole tone, and other scales like that. But the basic scales are your C major and C minor. But once you learn your major scales, it's really easy to get the minor scale, because the major scales are related to the minor scales, as we'll see. So like, here's your C scale. Let's start down here. And here's your D major. It has 2 sharps. And your E major, having 4 sharps. Whoops. And then your F major scale having 1 flat. And these are the way I would finger them as well. And then your G scale has 1 sharp, A scale has 3. Your B scale, as you can see, has 5. And then your D flat scale, whoops, major. So let me start down here. So that's the way I would finger it. And then your E flat scale has your 3 flats. And then you have your G flat scale. Now, when you do scales, each of the notes need to be alphabetically listed. So there's G, forgetting the flats right now, there's a G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So they're consecutive letters of the alphabet. So that's why we have a C sharp. Although the C sharp is enharmonically equivalent to B, we call it a C flat, so we maintain the alphabetical order in a scale, because all scales have an alphabetical order. So in the G flat, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flats. And then the A flat, we have 4. 1, 2. So A flat, B flat, D flat, and E flat are your 4 flats there. And let's see, did we get them all? Yeah, we have B flat as well. So let's take a look at that. So these scales are going to be important, and one of the reasons why, or the main reason why, the way you can get your minor scale from the major scales is the following. Like, let's take the C major scale. If I go down a minor third, 3 half steps, then I play those same notes, I have the A minor scale. And if I take the D scale, whoops, and I go down a minor third and use those 2 sharps, the F sharp and the C sharp, I get the B minor scale. So, which is called the relative minor of D, and the A is called the relative minor of C. So you can get the relative minors of these major scales, and when you're done, after you've completed the entire 12 scales, then you have all the 12 minors by just getting the relative minors of the majors. So by learning these minor, or learning the major scales, you automatically will get the relative minor scales. So in total, you'll have all your major and minor scales. So that's why it's so important to learn your major scales and then just apply that to the relative minor, those sharps and flats, just apply that to the relative minor. Now, in terms of voicings, we have the root voicing. And then if we take the bottom note, put it on top, so the C goes up an octave to there. So we have now the first inversion, and then take that bottom E flat, move it up an octave, and now you have the second inversion, and then take the bottom G, move it up an octave, and you now have the third inversion. So you can do that for all of your minor sevenths. For example, here we have we just did the C minor 7. Let's take a look at the D minor 7. Let's play it down here. So if I take the first inversion, second, and third. Now, one easy way to do it is you take the bottom triad and then add the minor 7. Okay, and the bottom triad is your C chord, or in this case, your D minor chord in first inversion. If I take the second inversion of the D minor, and then with my fourth finger, add the minor 7th, I now have the first inversion. If I take the second inversion of the D minor chord, and with my index finger, add the 7th, I now have the second inversion. And then if I take the D minor chord again in root position, playing it this time with my second, fourth, and fifth finger, and then add with my thumb the minor 7th, and I have the third inversion. So that's another way to look at inversions in your minor 7th, and it also applies to the major 7. So if I take a major 7 C chord, I've got my root position down here and my 7th in my little finger. And then if I take the second inversion of the C major chord and add with my fourth finger the major 7, I now have this first inversion. And then if I take the second inversion of the C, add the major 7th, I now have the second inversion. And then if I take the root with my second, fourth, and fifth finger, and then add the 7th with my thumb, I now have the third inversion of the C major 7th. So we can use this technique for minor and major 7ths and other chords, as we'll see. Now, another voicing we want to take a look at is the C minor 7th voicing. We did take a look at the C major 7 voicing, spread voicings. And here, and if you remember the C major 7, you have the first, the fifth, and then we took the third and major 7th and put them up an octave higher. And we had this voicing. Well, since your third and 7th are in your right hand, you can just diminish them or flat them, a better word. And you have the first voicing for the C minor 7, a very common voicing for your C minor 7, a open voicing as opposed to the closed voicing of your root first and second and third inversions. So we have that open voicing. And then the next voicing I have down here, if we take the minor third and minor 7th in the left hand and the first and fifth in the right hand, we have that voicing. And then the third voicing I have down here, if we take the third and 7th flatted in the right hand and then do the 5-1 voicing of the C, then we have that voicing. And then if we take the 1-5 voicing there, and then the 7-3 voicing, the flat 7, flat 3, up there we have yet another voice. And so you can experiment and get others, but these are all good voicings of your C minor 7, and they also would apply to the C major 7. So that'll wrap up this tutorial on, well, actually, before we wrap it up, let's talk a little bit about planing. Okay, so let's take a look at our C minor 7 open voicing, which we have right here. Now, remember, well, think of being in the C minor scale. Okay, so in the C minor scale, we actually have 3 flats. We have E flat, A flat, and B flat. Now, suppose I just go up, right? With planing, we keep the same position. So I have a 5th in my left hand and a 5th in my right hand. So if I go up a whole tone, okay, guess what? I have another voicing. This would be the same voicing for the D minor chord. And let's go up just a half step. So here we have, actually it's an interesting voicing, but we get it through planing. And let's plane again. Actually, let's go back to original. Okay, I actually have a 5th down here and a 5th down here. The 5th here is starting on the minor 3rd. So the voicings I really want to get into, you can do things like that and things like that, okay? And we can talk a bit later in another video what those are. But let's just keep it with the C minor 7 and then go up to the D minor 7. So I have my root and 5th in the left hand, and I'll take my minor 3rd in the right hand, so that way I have the same quality when I'm planing. So here I have the root and 5th, and I have the minor 3rd, minor 7th in the E scale. Because as long as you keep a 5th in the right hand, if the minor 3rd in the right hand with the index finger, if you go up a 5th, you're going to get the minor 7th. So here's G, A, and now we're back to C. And you can even do the flatted or sharp keys. Actually, what did I do here? This is the major 3rd of the D flat chord. So I just went from a minor 7th to a major 7th. This would be a major 7th as well, because I'm on the major 3rd of the D. So here's another major 7th because I'm on the major 3rd of the E flat. I could do the E flat minor 7. And here's so here you have the B flat major 7, and now I have the B minor 7 because this is your minor 3rd. So another thing you may have noticed is it's very important to and very useful to know the different notes in the scale. So if I'm in the C scale, there's my minor 3rd, there's my minor 7, and we usually know what the 3rd, 5th, major 7, because they're just notes of the score. Here's your 6th, another important note. Here's your 2nd. We use that a lot for suspended. And your 4th, we use that for 4th suspended. And then inversions of that. And here's your 2nd suspended. And we went into that in the tutorial on the triads. So that'll wrap this up, and we'll continue to discuss relevant things. For example, a composition consists of harmony and melody, and also counter melody, and usually your melody consists a lot of chord tones and non-chord tones. And a lot of the non-chord tones are notes of the scale that's embodied by the chord. And the last two chords we looked at were the C minor 7 and the C major 7. The 4-note chords are tetrachords. And we've noticed that a good scale to the scale that goes naturally with the major 7th is the major scale. And the scale that goes naturally with our minor 7ths are the minor scales. So in order to get the full picture in writing melodies and making melodies easy to write, given a harmony, or if you have a melody and you want to figure out what the harmony is behind it, you need to be equally fluent with chord voicings and also scales, okay, that you'll be using. And right now we're focusing on major scales and minor scales. So we'll go ahead and end it here. This is Bill McFadden from Tone Pure Music. If you like this video, please click like. If you wish to subscribe and get notifications when new videos come out and also keep the channel going, then please subscribe. So Bill McFadden from Tone Pure Music signing off.